Phase 2 can be looked back as forgettable, safe. Phase 2 suffered from bad villains. And then that transitioned you into Phase 3. So the conversation going into Phase 3 was, well, Phase 2 was a bit boring and safe. How do you change that? You destroy it. Captain America Civil War is Avengers 2.5. The trailers were epic. It's an epic movie. It's slow in pace, but it delivers on so many moments. It introduces Black Panther. It successfully makes you believe why these heroes would choose different sides. And it kind of follows that conversation that was in the media at the time of, oh, the superheroes cause so much damage and no one ever talks about it, which was kickstarted by Man of Steel 3 years before. So Civil War comes around and says, ha, here's where we are, here's the MCU, boom, it's apart now. And this leads into Infinity War like really well. That's the point of this movie, is to split them all up so they can be defeated. We get Black Panther, we get Spider-Man, and can you remember when Ant-Man turned really big? That was a big deal then. Like, oh my God, they're doing this power. God, we were naive and so unaware of where things would go back in this time. I miss those days so much. Doctor Strange comes out. I've never liked Doctor Strange, the movie. The character's okay. I personally don't think Doctor Strange can lead a movie because he's not interesting enough. This is a fine movie and sets up his character, like every character so far, well in their own movie. Introduces the Time Stone, which is really the point of the movie. And this movie has one of the few moments in my cinema history that's made an audience go, oh, collectively, which is when Doctor Strange tells Rachel McAdams, oh what, like you? And like just says it really meanly. Cold as ice.
There are other things that can give your life meaning.
Like what? Like you?
Doctor Strange had two purposes. Bring in the Time Stone, bring in Doctor Strange. It did that in an inoffensive way. Whatever. Guardians 2 is my favorite Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I really love this movie, and it's mostly to do with the whole father-son theme throughout. I think this movie could have been a lot better if it didn't disrupt every serious moment with a joke. This is the movie I think you really started to see more of that in the MCU. Outside of that, I love the whole movie, and the ending gets me emotional. When I walk away from Guardians 2 every time, I've had fun, I've laughed, I've almost cried. If I drank, maybe I would cry. And the soundtrack is memorable. I love this movie. Spider-Man Homecoming. Here is a very unpopular opinion. I really dislike Homecoming and Far From Home. I really do. This is not Spider-Man. I liked Tom Holland as Spider-Man eventually in No Way Home. In No Way Home, this Spider-Man finally felt like Spider-Man. Before that, this guy is so annoying. Spider-Man with Stark Tech ain't Spider-Man. Homecoming, the whole story is about Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark. It sets up the whole Stark, Peter Parker thing in Infinity War, I guess. Retroactively, it does that well. But outside of that, I just really don't like this movie. The only things I really like about this movie is Michael Keaton as the Vulture. I don't love the Vulture's design, but it works. His motivation is good. It's a good villain. Finally here. I also like the reveal that Peter Parker's girlfriend's dad is the villain. That was a great twist. That was another moment in the cinema. People went, oh, even myself. And I'm pretty quiet in the cinema, so that's a good scene. But hey, we've got a new Spider-Man now and a new Spider-Man movie. For some reason, people think this movie's brilliant. Good for you. Thor Ragnarok is a great comedy. It's a great comedy. It's got great action, some dodgy CGI, some really great character stuff, a pretty decent villain, and it has Carl Urban.
Behold, my stuff.
Ooh.
This is my stuff. That's the funniest line in the MCU. There's not much to say about this movie. The whole Asgard thing being destroyed never really led to anything. Really, like we're still sort of like, alright, I guess they're just on Earth, whatever. Loki's great. Chris Hemsworth really comes into the character here. This is where Chris Hemsworth was like, oh yeah, I think Thor is just me. So there's no acting going on, it's just Chris Hemsworth. And making Hulk a part of this movie was a stroke of genius. Taika Waititi is a great writer and a great director, when he wants to be. Black Panther, another unpopular opinion from me. I don't love this movie at all. I think it's rather boring, too long. I think Killmonger, there's nothing about him I really like. He's just angry Michael B. Jordan. I never really connected with this movie like a lot of people seem to say. Although I think a lot of those people are just trying to VS, if you can work out what I mean by VS, good for you. But I also believe there's a lot of people out there that really connected with it. There's good things in it, don't get me wrong. I love the score, I love the slower pace in some emotional moments, but overall I just think it's too long. And I just think the plot is weak. But it just goes to show how unstoppable the MCU was. MCU logo on the poster, on the trailer, make the trailer look somewhat cool. $1 billion. Infinity War, my God, Infinity War. This is one of the greatest superhero movies. This is great. Infinity War is so tight, just so perfectly put together. Thanos is the best character. Coming in and just beating the Hulk up. No one would have ever believed the Hulk could be beaten up like that. Made into a little bitch. Thanos did it in the first 5 minutes. Then he killed Loki. What an introduction to a villain. I think we all knew, or at least I did, because we knew the second Avengers was coming out a year later, that there had to be a bad moment coming towards the end. You can't just have Thanos lose and then lose again a year later. They did it. They killed half of them. And it is a great way to make the next team in Avengers 4, which would become to be known as Endgame, the original Avengers mostly. Thematically, it's like poetry. It rhymes. It's perfect. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Whatever. Captain Marvel. I think I talked a bit about this the other day. It's the worst movie in the MCU, or at least it was. It's bad. Endgame! Oh yeah. I love Endgame. That's a 3-hour movie that just earns it. I love everything about Endgame. I like Endgame. I like Endgame more than Infinity War. For a movie that had to culminate the MCU up to this point, you could not have done it better. You could not have done it better. It gave you everything you wanted and more. Killing Iron Man, powerful. Captain America gets his dance, yes! Thanos dies the way he killed trillions before. Poetic. The only thing about this movie that if I was to change it somehow, I would have the Thanos they face in this movie the same one from Infinity War. You kind of lose a bit of the stakes by just having a different version of Thanos come through. It doesn't ruin the movie by any means, but it would be more powerful if the original Avengers upended his plans for him to see and killed him in the end. And then we got Spider-Man Far From Home after that. I really hate this movie. I don't hate it. I really don't like it. Don't like it. Nothing's taken seriously. Mysterio was done well. I never thought you could make Mysterio believable in live action, but they did it. But again, there's too much Stark influence in Peter's story. It makes sense with the history Peter had with Tony, but it's just not Spider-Man to me. I've only seen this movie 1.5 times, and I have no desire to ever watch it again. And that's phase 3. So what worked? It ended the story for most of our heroes, our original heroes, and successfully introduced characters you would want to see take up the mantle going forward. What didn't work was, well, some of the characters you don't really want to watch again. And some of the arcs to the main characters don't feel necessarily satisfying. I won't go into specifics, but Thor could have had a really good arc coming out of this, and they blew it with Love and Thunder. Scarlett Johansson, I like her death, but it could have been better thematically. And that's it really. Like, to wrap it up, phase 1, all about characters. Phase 2, setting up the ending, and phase 3 was all about the ending. It's a 3-act structure, and I think after Endgame and Far From Home, you could have closed the book and people would have been happy. To a lot of people now, maybe we should have, but we didn't, and we were going to continue. People didn't think it could get much better than Endgame, and they were right. And then comes 2020.
We're in the end game now.
Everything is getting delayed. We don't know when we're going to get the next MCU movie. It's weird times. Enter Disney Plus. The worst thing to happen to Marvel and Disney as a whole. Well, we got an idea for a movie, but we don't trust audiences to come out and see it. Let's just stretch this little thin plot we've got into a 6-episode series and slap it on Disney Plus. And if they don't watch it, they'll be lost when it comes to the next movie. That's a great idea. What a business model.
The audience is so smart. And it's true. They are. They get everything.
The only TV show of Marvel they've done that I've actually somewhat enjoyed was WandaVision. But even that lost me by the end. The rest of them are crap. Falcon and the Winter Soldier sucks. Moon Knight sucks. I can't even remember the others. They're just bad. They have moments of, yeah, I like that, but as a whole, why am I watching? As I said, they're the plots of a 90-minute movie stretched into 9 episodes. They're unnecessary. And then when you get to the movies and you haven't seen them and you're confused, well, that's a reflection on you, Disney, not me. And then you get to the movies of Phase 4. Black Widow. Shang-Chi, which I still haven't seen. Eternals, I haven't seen it. Why would I? Did you see the trailers? Yeah, I'm not watching it. Spider-Man No Way Home. Love it. Great movie. That's not sarcasm. I genuinely love No Way Home. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies now, actually. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. The trailers were misleading. The Illuminati sucked. It's a bad movie. Oh, it's got Sam Raimi's fingerprints all over it. It's so good. No, it didn't. Sam Raimi got corrupted by the studio like every director does going into the MCU now. Don't defend it because it's Raimi. It's a bad movie. Thor Love and Thunder. And Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever, I can appreciate the challenges they had. What they had to overcome with Chadwick Boseman dying. And the movie we got was not necessarily bad, but like the first one. It's just too long, boring, and I think the shadow of Chadwick Boseman clouds the entire movie. They can't get out of his cloud. Shuri, I like Shuri, and I like her as Black Panther. That makes sense to me. They just had a battle they couldn't win with Black Panther 2. They did their best. And what would be the takeaway from Phase 4? There's just too much, too soon. I don't care about any of these new characters, and the characters I did care about are either dead or they're not the same character anymore. The movies we got in Phase 1 and Phase 2 had meaning. They were leading to something. We need Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and the Hulk because that is the Avengers. We need to set up the Infinity Stones. So let's do the Power Stone with Guardians of the Galaxy. We can use Thor 2 to set up an Infinity Stone. Captain America, the Winter Soldier, let's destroy S.H.I.E.L.D. Every movie had its point and had a consequence leading into the next chapter. The MCU Phase 4 was just movies for movie's sake. It was all leading nowhere. There's no direction. And that's immediately missing. So there's your first step in answering the question, why was the MCU iconic? It had direction. It was a TV show on a large scale. Never seen before. And done well. What was the MCU now? Phase 4? Bullshit. You can't just have Kevin Feige get up and present to the world, hey look, in 4 years' time, you're going to have Kang Dynasty. Get excited. And then a year after that, Secret Wars. You can't do it. No one cares about getting an Avengers movie. We care about getting an Avengers movie with the characters we care about. We don't care about any characters right now, so why should I give a fuck about the next Avengers movie? You've got to build to it. You can't give it to us. You're hungry. I give you a chocolate chip cookie as soon as you say you're hungry. Okay, you're full, but you're not satisfied. You didn't have to earn it. You just got a cookie. You tell me you're hungry. I say, okay. Here's a crumb. Oh, please more. Okay, here's another crumb. Cookie's right there. You know where that cookie is, but you can't get it yet. You want it more. And then, I give you that cookie. That's what the Avengers used to be. Phase 5 is a stinker. In a year, Marvel has effectively killed all the hype going forward. I'm gonna read to you a list of what we've gotten so far. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, Jonathan Majors. Wasn't everyone in love with Jonathan Majors at the start of the year? He's gonna win Oscars. He's gonna be the next big fucking thing. He's not even that good as Kang. He's insufferable in Loki. Insufferable. And his performance here is fine. It's not groundbreaking. I never understood this whole Kang thing, this whole Jonathan Majors thing. And the way it's going right now, we're never gonna see it again. Who knows? Guardians of the Galaxy 3, really good. I liked it. Not the best one, but I liked it. The Marvels, watch my review. Holy shit. And Secret Invasion, I didn't watch it, but I heard it was bad. And Loki Season 2, which I've actually heard is really good, but I didn't like the first season, so I'm not going to watch the second season. Take in the real world controversies Marvel's dealing with in just the last few weeks. Like, they're at rock bottom right now. The MCU, in my opinion, needs to take a step back. Have a break. Finish everything that's in active development. Meaning, if something's shooting right now, just about to shoot, finish it. Deadpool, whatever else is filming. Get it out. Take 3 years. We've got 3 years. Let's spend 1 year writing 6 scripts. Year 2, let's go and shoot 6 scripts. Year 3, we get the first bunch of new Marvel movies. Give us 3 in that year and 3 more the year following. No more TV shows right now. Do holiday specials and Halloween specials. People get to miss the MCU. You actually get to put some thought and time into new movies. And those movies, when they come out, people will watch them. And if you've actually put the effort in, like you once did, it'll make money. And people will be excited for the next one. Clear your slate. Don't tease Avengers movies. Avengers movies, like I said, don't make money because they're Avengers movies. They make money because people want to see them. You need to make people want to see your movies again. Maybe that way you can make the MCU as iconic as it once was, with a reputation for introducing great characters, great action, great CGI, storytelling that effectively flowed from one movie to the other like no one's ever done before. The MCU was iconic. Maybe it can be again. But if I'm being completely honest with you, I think the real problem isn't the terrible movies and TV shows we've been getting. I think it's the fact that Marvel and Disney, they're giving women credits. They're letting them write, they're letting them edit, direct, and act, and